So imagine it's a program that is 6 months, but we provide for 5 years. Hospitality is one industry where entry barrier is fairly low, but the sustenance barrier or the continuity barrier is
So today we have with us Mr. Mohit Saxena, who has over 2 decades of experience in the corporate world, where he has played various leadership roles in the IT sector. Since the last 2 years, he's been heading the SAATHIYA Skilling Academy as program director. Prior to joining the social sector, he was a global delivery head for utilities vertical at Infosys, the organization where he spent 23 years of his career. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mohit. It's a pleasure having you.
Thanks, Deepak, and thanks for your organization for having me here.
You're most welcome. And just to start with the conversation, so how are you leveraging design thinking and, as you mentioned, pragmatic ideas to help provide skilling avenues for the youth at SAATHIYA?
Yeah, sure. So, design thinking is something that I got introduced as part of my IT career in Infosys. And it is helping us in many ways. One of the things that design thinking does is it helps you reframe or better define the problem statements in what they call human-centric ways, right? So if you look at the premise of skilling in India, it's largely about how do we get youth, how do we train them, and how do we place them in the jobs, right? While that works fairly well for many sectors, it is slightly different. We need to take a slightly deeper look when it comes to hospitality, right? Okay. Because hospitality, it's quite a demanding sector. The quality standards are very high. So, we believe simple approach of get the people, train them, match the demand with the supply, and then, forget about them is not going to work. So what design thinking did was it actually helped us reframe the problem statement from how do we train and get jobs to youth, from that to how do we train and get them jobs, but more importantly, how do we keep them in jobs, right? And that became the central theme for our academy. Obviously we want to train them, but how do we make sure these guys stay in the job and hence they get the benefit of all the training that has been invested in them. Similarly, other thing design thinking talks about is the empathy aspect, right? You empathize with the end user. And one of the things that we realize, we put these youth in big hotels, in corporate background, and it is tough for them. They don't always get the kind of support that they need for their job continuity. And where do they get the support for, right? They are not so enterprising to go out and ask. And the reason, they don't continue is mainly because of that. They have small problems, but, they don't get support to sort those problems out. So we said we need to do something so that they feel comfortable asking for support from us at least. And the only way to do was they're really shy, right? So unless you create a strong emotional bonding with them, they won't come back to you and ask for it. So then the second theme that became important for us is how do we create that connect? And the answer to that was, we said, we'll create a residential academy that will give us an opportunity to, sort of bond and connect with them.
So the model of the organization SAATHIYA is embedded in the brand Tamara leisure experiences. So how does this alliance in particular help the programs of the organization?
Right. So as you would know, SAATHIYA is a program under Shibulal Family Philanthropic Initiatives. And Shruti Shibulal, who is the CEO and director of Tamara Leisure Experiences, right? She is the executive sponsor for us. And this alliance has, helped us in many ways. I will just take a couple of examples. One, like any other Shibulal Family Philanthropic Initiative, right? There is a very genuine desire to help the underprivileged youth. right? So the design of the program is done in that way. There is a lot of care that we have taken. But given that Tamra itself is part of the industry, there is also a very deep rooted commitment to serve the industry with the quality talent at the entry level. So if you look at any of the skilling program, they are largely centered around, because they are more designed from the perspective of providing employment. They are more centered around the youth, the people, and how do we train them and how do we place them. But we have a two-sided commitment. One is the commitment to the youth, and second is commitment to the industry. So that has really helped, right? All the focus and the investments and the support that we have been able to get from Shruti and the Shibulal family. Second, the fact that we are in the hospitality industry, and if you look at the portfolio of Tamra, it's a very wonderful mix. Tamra has a 5-star premium business hotel, some premium luxury resorts, mid-segment hotels, and wellness properties. So we have a wealth of experience, knowledge, and expertise available to us on demand. So we can use that experience anytime that we need. Our students get opportunity to get exposure to various of these segments of hospitality industry, right? And that is available on tap. So that has really helped. And then since we are an insider, what it helps is we can empathize with the industry in terms of what does the industry expect from a associate at an entry level. We understand it a lot better, and we can use those inputs to design our program really well. So yeah, I think this partnership, this alliance, and this sponsorship from Tamra has done a lot in shaping the way we have designed and we are running the academy.
Great. And now moving on to the aspect of the challenges that you have in this domain of skilling in particular. So like you mentioned, that hospitality is a sector which already is filled with a lot of challenges when it comes to training the youth and providing them sustainable employment as well, and even the quality of the courses as well. So what are some of the other challenges that you face while providing these skilling programs? So be it in the terms of, so say, facilitators who come in as the trainers or the students themselves?
The biggest challenge for us was to get a good team in place, right? And when I say a good team, we had set a very stringent bar for ourselves, right? So we said, when it comes to the faculty, we need to have a faculty that is highly experienced, that is not only experienced in just teaching, but they're also experienced in operations, so that they understand the nuances of the skilling.
Yeah.
So it is not just about and then we set a third criteria for ourselves. We said that it can't be just about a job that somebody is doing. They need to be aligned to the cause that we are after, right? So they should have had some experience of being in the social sector. So we are asking too many things from our faculty. You need to be highly experienced. So if you look at our faculty, they have an experience of minimum 10 to 12 years, 22 years, which is kind of unheard of in the skilling space. Generally, skilling space doesn't have that much of an experience. Then we said, you should have experience of teaching graduate students. So that was a big challenge. But we didn't lower our bar. And we were fortunate to have Mr. Kenneth Pinto, who is a very known personality in the industry. He was our chief mentor. So he helped us through that, and we were able to identify right kind of a team. It took us quite some time to get that kind of a team in place, but finally we found it. We were lucky to get that team and help from Shibulal family, and the support that we got from them that made us do that. Then the next is, getting the right candidates, right? It is not just because it's a program in the social sector, you get anybody, train anybody, and just place them and forget about them. We wanted to make sure we get the right people who genuinely have a desire to actually do something in their life, but they're not able to do it mainly because of financial resources or whatever challenges they have in life, right? So we went about setting an entry criteria. There is a stringent process that students have to go through before they can get in. They need to take a test. They need to score certain minimum passing marks. Then they need to go through a one-on-one interview. Then what we also do is we talk to their parents. We want to make sure that the entire family's support is available to the student as they choose their career, because it's a lifetime decision, right? We don't want them to keep jumping jobs, keep changing the career. So we said we will do that. And then the last thing, having a good faculty in place, having the right students in place. The last thing was, how do you motivate them? How do you inspire them? How do you discipline them? Because see, the reason they are doing this program is because they could not complete their studies. Most of the students we have are 10th pass or 12th pass, or maybe some of them 12th fail. They just didn't like the regular academics, right? They didn't find it interesting, and that is why they are doing this program. They still want to build their life. So how do you make that studies interesting? So it was really difficult. You need to play multiple roles at once. You need to be a cool friend to them. You need to be a very strict teacher to them, and you need to be a very caring guardian to them, right? So we had to play all these roles all at the same time, same set of people wearing different hats. But so far so good. We have trained enrolled about 75 students so far in last 1 year. About 30 of them have completed their entire program. 40% of our placements have been in 5-star properties, like Shangri-La, Radisson, Sheraton, the big names, Taj. So, I think these students have done well. So it has been a challenging journey, but, we have been able to think through deeply, think through from the perspective of employers as well as the youth, and address those challenges. The other thing we do is we call it career support. So we provide a career support for 5 years to our alumni, right? So imagine it's a program that is 6 months, but we provide for 5 years, because we believe that is very important. Going back to, the whole problem statement of not just giving them a job, how to keep them in the job and how to make their career grow, right? So there are 3 things that we focus on when we talk about this career support after they are placed. And so far we have had a placement record of 100%. So not a single student who wanted a job was in a position where we were not able to get him a job. And many of the jobs, like I said, premium jobs. So one thing that we do is we provide support to enable a good transition from their, for the lack of a better word, I'll call it as a sort of unorganized life, something that they have unfortunately been exposed to for the first, 18 to 20 years of their life. From that to a highly professional, highly organized life of a premium property, good hotel and all that. It's not easy for them. We may think our job is done by giving them a job, but it's not easy for them to survive. Hospitality is one industry where entry barrier is fairly low, but the sustenance barrier or the continuity barrier is high. It's very demanding. So we provide that support, and we do that by staying in touch with them, by staying in touch with their employer, keep checking on them, proactively reaching out to them to check how they are performing, how they are doing. Second is, how do we help their skill upgrade continuous? Because 6-month training can do only so much to your life, right? That is the reason, we all do courses, graduation, post-graduation, and they're long courses. A 6-month training can only help you a few years. So continuous skill upgrade is very, very important, right? So we teach them remotely, even after they graduate from us, get a certificate, and they have nothing to do with us. We call them back for some skill upgrade courses. Third thing we want to focus on is, how do we help them complete their graduation or 12th if they have not done 12th while they are in the job, right? So working with organizations or institutes that provide distance learning to help them do a graduation in hotel management from a distance learning program and all that. So we believe 5 years is a window for which we need to support them, and that is the time their orientation, their thinking, their mindset would have gone to a level of maturity from where they can, manage their life on their own. But that support is really, really important. So yeah, these are things that, we do for job continuity, and that we believe is a much bigger and more important portion than just the training itself.
Definitely. And coming to the end of the conversation, so what is the future aspect that you're looking at towards, the training and the skilling aspects of your programs, considering that COVID has hit the offline model for a lot of institutions? So I'm pretty sure that the hospitality industry is not spared of the same. So how are you looking at, creating, say, online models or disseminating the skilling programs per se post-COVID or even during COVID?
Right. So yeah, I think what has happened, what we have seen in last 4 or 5 months, really unfortunate. That has derailed a lot of industries. In hospitality, travel, tourism is big hit, has been hit badly, I would say, because of this pandemic. So what we are doing is, obviously, we have moved our classes online for now. But given that these are skill programs, there is an element of practical training that you need to provide. So we are looking at ways how we can do some of that practical online as well. Going forward, I think if we need to take away what this pandemic has done in a positive sense is, we may be able to design a model, and we are working on that right now, where the initial part of the program can be delivered online. So, people who come from all over India to our institute. So we have students from Kashmir, Manipur, Bihar, UP, all over India. We have students. We think of it as a relay race. So think of a life where some organization, some NGOs actually take care of the primary education and secondary education, and they support in rural areas or underprivileged kids in that segment. If they can hand over the lives to the next set of organizations who actually support teens, right? And we come in the next segment, where these set of organizations hand over the lives to us, build on, we actually help them with the skilling and job and career building, right? So we are quite focused on building that partnerships. We have an internal program called Finest 50, where we are trying to reach out to best 50 organizations, NGOs in India, who we can partner with them, because it's all about, building an emotional connect. And if we work with a lot of organizations who know that individual, their family, their community well, the whole job of, orienting that person becomes a lot easier. So that is one side of partnership. The other side of partnership is the demand side, basically working with hotels, working with premium corporates, where we can place our students. Then we want to make sure we expand our offerings in terms of how we do it, and that is where the whole digital will play a role, and what we do. So we plan to start few more courses around, let's say, on the kitchen. Right now we do on F&B service and housekeeping. We plan to introduce course on the kitchen side. Also, a lot of students came to us and expressed a desire of, sir, we want to have a business of our own. We want to open a small restaurant or whatever. So our guidance to them is, look, get some experience, get some maturity, save some money, and then jump to starting something. But now we are working on launching a program where we can train them, because if they have a deep desire, and many of them have talent, right, they can do it. Just that in the absence of any guidance, they'll probably do some experiment, and the probability of failure will increase. So we are working on a program right now, which we'll launch in another couple of months. Basically, it's an entrepreneurship program, and that will also be delivered in a combination of online plus offline model. So yeah, I think we have a long way to go. Last 1 year, we were fortunate and blessed to see good results. The students worked hard, and they worked well to get good placements, but we have a long way to go. And it's only a lot of partnerships through which we can actually make it happen. And through your platform, I would like to make an appeal to all the partners. If they have youth in their community, in their villages, in their city towns, the population they work with, if they need help, if they have candidates who would like to get help, we would be more than happy to work with them.
Definitely. So that brings us to the close of the conversation. Thank you so much for joining us, Mr. Mohit. It's been a pleasure. And just to know that how you're kind of helping the hospitality industry and the students in particular to get them skilled for the requirements that are there in the industry, and also are prepared for the future itself. and also are open to, talking about entrepreneurship with them. So that's a wonderful thought process. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Deepak. Thanks for having me. It was nice talking to you.
Thank you.